Hello, everybody. This is Martha Alter-Hines with Living the One Light. And today I am feeling really inspired and really called to make a video regarding the energies of the upcoming full moon in Leo that we have happening on February 5th, 2023. So I'm making this video on January 25th, 2023. So it's a bit a ways from now, but I'm feeling really called to talk to some of the themes with that full moon because they're relevant kind of to everything this whole year. And I want to tie in some of these feelings that I'm having about this full moon to the energetics and the astrology of all of 2023 and also just the directive I'm getting with in my prayers. So where do I want to start? So I already made a video regarding the new moon in Aquarius that we just had. And then I also made a joint video with Verena Burrell regarding that new moon in Aquarius, as well as the full moon in Leo. And so I already expressed some of my thoughts about all of it, including Verena and I talked a lot about the polarity between Leo and Aquarius and the opportunity in that polarity to balance both the reality that Leo energy is this beautiful knowing of what it is to shine the unique expression that we are each of the divine, and then Aquarius helps us to be that uniqueness in a way that's also in touch with the vibration of all of existence. It's one way to sum it up. So we talk a lot about that in that video, and definitely recommend watching that if that interests you. What I'm really feeling drawn to and called to talk about in this video is more of the energy really around what I'm feeling in general called to in this time, in this year, of remembering ourselves as Earth and remembering ourselves as bodies of Earth and remembering ourselves as living expressions of source life energy, which we are. We are made of Earth. We are made of source life energy. True, all true. Earth is a manifestation of source life energy too. So one of the things associated with Leo, of course, is the sun and this creative life force energy that is all of us. And so when I'm dropping into this full moon in Leo, full moons are when the sun is opposite the moon. And so the light of the sun literally reflects off the moon. And the whole one face of the moon is illuminated. So in a full moon in Leo, just in general, is a kind of neat thing because the sun, which quote unquote rules Leo, is suddenly illuminating this whole moon. So it's this double expression of the sun Leo energy, and even the full moon itself is, the shining in the world in a certain way. So just always that full moon in Leo is really beautiful and special to me in a lot of different ways. But then in particular, I feel this year, this Leo energy being particularly alive because we're going to be having our next Venus retrograde happening at 28 degrees of Leo. So this full moon is happening at 16 degrees of Leo here in February 5th, 2023. But then in July of 2023, we're going to have Venus going retrograde at 28 degrees of Leo. So they're not that close to each other degrees wise, but it's the same sign, right? And then Venus will be going retrograde back toward the point where this full moon is. And Venus going retrograde in Leo is one of the many, many astrological happenings this year, which I talked a lot about in other videos, including on the EA Zoom year ahead panel that I was on, which you can see on the EA Zoom YouTube channel. So I was on day 2 of that, and I brought up a lot of these themes there too. And I talked about it in the video I did on my own channel regarding my perspective on the themes of 2023, but it's feeling important to talk about it again. So in general, what I am getting told in my prayers over and over again, and then really it's emphasized so strongly in so many of the transits of 2023, is this need to be coming back to the reality that we are Earth, that we are this creative life force energy. And so like this full moon in Leo to me is just sort of a precursor, or one of many moments where that light is really shining and getting highlighted. And so again, another one of those times is when Venus is going retrograde at 28 degrees of Leo. And something I want to highlight about that is that when Venus does go retrograde at 28 degrees of Leo in July, it will be exactly opposite Eros. And I'm doing a free talk on Eros, which many of you already know. Several of you have reached out to me because you would like me to use your chart in that. And if you would like me to use your chart, please email me at livingtheonelight@gmail.com, and I'll try to accommodate as many of you as I can. But if you know you can be at this, especially if you know you can be there live, I would love to have you there live. And if I can, I'll try to use your chart. But it's going to be, I'll be hosting that, will be through EA Zoom meetings, but I will send out the Zoom link for it. And the very, it'll be, the talk itself will be on February 2nd, Thursday, February 2nd at 1 p.m. Pacific. So yeah, it'll be a free talk about Eros, the archetype and the asteroid. And I'm going to focus on the astrology of Eros in 2023 as well. And one of the things I noticed that I was sitting there wondering, why am I so drawn to talk about Eros? Well, I think a couple different things. Number one, my natal Eros is at 24 degrees of Sagittarius, which happens to be where Eros is right this minute. Okay, so there's that. I'm having my own personal Eros return. Number two, it's then right around now also going to be conjunct the galactic center. So I think on a big level, it's like anything is conjunct the galactic center to me, which is around 27, 28 degrees Sagittarius. To me, that's like a returning home. That's like a returning to the center of where we come from. So the galactic center is, the point that our galaxy is rotating around. And so it's like, it's a central, to me, it's almost like a direct connector to source itself in a sense. So Eros coming to conjunct the galactic center is like this beautiful reminder, this moment of us getting re-infused with what is the essence of Eros energy, life force energy. Again, very similar, not exactly the same, but similar to the Leo energy. Although I would say Eros to me is more about explicitly erotic, Eros, erotic energy. And Leo can be sexual for sure, but it's not necessarily so focused in that way. Although Eros to me is not just sexual, it's creative life force energy, which has this quality of sexuality, but really as the divine sexuality of source itself. Okay. yeah, so Leo and Eros to me are connected, not the same, but have similar qualities. And then, so that, I think those are two reasons that the Eros energy has been so alive for me. But then this is what really was the kicker for me. As I was starting to look at the transits of Eros coming up, guess where it will be for those of you who follow astrology? The moment that Pluto enters Aquarius in March 2023, the end of March, March 23rd-ish, I want to say. Guess where Eros is going to be? 0 degrees Aquarius. So when Pluto enters Aquarius for the first time in, 246 years, it will be exactly to the degree conjunct Eros. That's huge. So huge to me. So to me, that is this incredibly deep soul level calling to dissolve our conceptions of what Eros is, what sexuality is, to let that, our relationship to sexuality, to erotic energy, to transform, to transmute, to be the caterpillar that goes into the chrysalis. Let it have time to be goop. Let us have time to not know what it is. Let us have time to just be that caterpillar that needs time to not know and to be in the chrysalis with the imaginal cells doing their thing. That's incredibly powerful to me, especially when I also, as I've talked about before, see that the nodes of the moon, in July of 2023 are going to switch from Scorpio and Taurus into Libra and Aries. And when they switch, precisely when they switch, Pluto will be squaring the nodes of the moon. So there's this incredible opportunity and theme for the whole year of 2023, and then, way beyond, for us to radically transform, transmute, totally reorganize our conceptions around relationships, around gender, around sexuality, around how we conceive of the constructs of gender, the constructs of what relationships are or should be, or any of that, and come back to the essence of really what are we here to do on the planet, and what is the purpose of relationship in that, and what is in integrity for us each individually and as a collective, and what isn't. Yeah, that caterpillar just literally can't know what the butterfly could look like. It can't. I mean, maybe in some way its cells know, but it has to have that time in the chrysalis. It has to. And when we're in that chrysalis, we probably just don't know, and that's okay. That's part of this whole transforming process, is just surrendering to becoming the goop. So, that can be scary. That can be really confusing. But I see that potential so strongly calling us this year, is number one, coming back to the reality that we are Earth, that we are bodies, that we are Eros, that we are here to be in relationship of various kinds. We have that impulse in us, we have that drive, that need. And Pluto, going through the end degrees of Capricorn, conjuncting Eros as it peaks into, just barely into Aquarius, and then goes back, retrogrades back into the last degrees of Capricorn again, and then goes direct. And then eventually next year, really enters Aquarius. And while it's doing that, entering Aquarius, going retrograde, and going forward, it's squaring the nodes of the moon. And it's conjunct Eros as it goes into Aquarius. So incredibly powerful. And I feel like we can't know what that looks like a year from now or 5 years from now. And maybe we just don't need to know. It's okay. And at the same time, what we can do, what I feel really called to do, is just be present, to drop into our body, drop into my body, just be really present with the reality that I think we are partly here. I speak for myself. I think it's true for a lot of us. We are here to hold space, to be willing to be the caterpillar that will turn into the goop and be in the chrysalis, and not know, and yet be willing to let go of maybe what needs to go or needs to transform. Again, in terms of our relationship to sexuality, to relationship, to our bodies, to ourselves as Earth, all of this. Yeah, and as we're doing that, we are held by that chrysalis. We are held by the Earth. We are the Earth. We are the cosmos. So it's okay. We don't need to know the answers. We don't need to do it by ourselves. We're literally not doing it by ourselves. That's the truth. And that also ties in, again, the polarity of the Leo and the Aquarius energies. There's Leo over here shining on the stage, but the reality is, when we're doing that in this relationship with community all the time, even if we're sitting by ourselves in a room. We're never an isolated island. It's just not true. So, yeah, I think that's all I'm called to say at this exact minute. But again, I am holding this free talk on Eros on February 2nd. I would love to have any and all of you there live who can be there live. If you can't be there live, make sure you're on my email list, which you can sign up for at my website, livingtheonelight.com, and I'll be sending out the recording for that. And then on February 14th, I'm really excited because then I'm going to hold a workshop on Eros. So that one will not be free, but I'm trying to keep the price relatively okay. And I'm actually going to be inviting 2 of my friends who, one is a therapeutic yoga instructor, and one is a naturopath who's also a belly dance instructor. And so the 3 of us are actually going to collaborate to do an offering regarding Eros. So in that collaboration, I will talk more deeply than I do in the free talk about the energetic of Eros, and then I'll channel and guide us all into a remembering of what that divine sexuality is. It really is for each of us. Just coming into our own remembering, that we are literally the life force of Source itself. And then what does that heal in us? What does that remind us of? What does that open us up to? And then my 2 friends who will also join in are going to do their own magic. So that's going to be really cool. And that's going to be on February 14th, which is, for anybody who happens to celebrate Valentine's Day, that happens to be Valentine's Day. I thought that is a perfect thing, perfect way to celebrate and honor ourselves on this day that can be very wonderful and fun for a lot of people, and also frustrating and sad and all kinds of other feelings for other people. So, or a mixture of all of the above. Anyway, I think I'm really excited to hold that, and that is something I would love to have you at as well. Another thing coming up that I'll mention is on February 28th, I'm having a workshop called Trauma-Informed Basics for Astrologers and Healers. So that is for you if you are an astrologer or a healer and of any kind, and you don't have training as a therapist. So this is not meant to be therapy. It's not clinical training, but I do have, huge amount of experience as a psychotherapist and as somebody who specialized in trauma-informed work. And what I see with a lot of people who do astrology and do other healing modalities, but they don't have that clinical background, there's everybody has really good intentions, and then there are some very simple, very basic things that I see people doing that could totally inadvertently really hurt the client, specifically a client who has a lot of trauma. So there are certain triggers for people with a lot of trauma or even a little bit of trauma that can actually be life threatening. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, I really actually, it's true, and it's not an exaggeration. I hesitate a little to be that extreme, but it's the truth. So in this workshop, what I'm going to be doing is just giving the some really basic information on if a client comes to you and presents with, the sexual abuse that they had when they were 5, or that they left a marriage where they're being beaten, or maybe they're in a domestic violence situation, or whatever it is. There's, trauma comes up because all humans have trauma, right? So it's very, very, very likely if you're doing healing work, probably you will have trauma surface in sessions. It's pretty unlikely, I would say, that it wouldn't happen. And I think it's just extremely important to know some basic do's and don'ts. So that's what that workshop is going to be. And again, that's coming up on February 28th. You can already sign up for that. I have an early bird special if you want to sign up sooner rather than later. And if you're wanting, ongoing one-on-one or group kind of more consulting around specific situations, I'm also happy to do that. I'm not officially offering that yet, but if that's something that really calls to you, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to try to set up, maybe there's a small group of people who would want 1 or 2 or 3 times where you can actually just bounce ideas off of me or ask me questions. I don't think we'll have a lot of time for that in that workshop, although maybe a little bit. But if that's something you're wanting, definitely let me know, and I'm happy to do that. And I also want to say, Verena Burrell and I did just yesterday start our goddess series, and it's so exciting and so much fun. And we started yesterday with our workshop on Persephone. You can still join though. You can join anytime. This is a year-long thing. We're starting with 4 goddesses. We're spending 1 month on each goddess. We're starting this month with Persephone. Then next we'll be doing Ceres. Then we'll be doing Hecate, and then we'll be doing Hygeia. So that's the first 4 that we're doing. And then the list of the other 8 is also on the website that I'll put in the link below. But so we had that workshop yesterday that was recorded. And if you sign up now, you automatically get access to that workshop. But then what we're doing is, so each month around the time of the new moon, like yesterday, we have this recorded live and recorded workshop on that month's goddess. Then 2 weeks later, around the time of the full moon, we then have a not recorded sharing circle, where if you're part of this goddess series, you then, you've either been to the workshop or you've listened to that workshop. And then there's an opportunity for you to come and share your experience with for example, this month, Persephone. What's been moving for you? What's been healing in your life, or what's been stirred up, or what wisdom is coming through you as that energetic of Persephone? How does it affect you to be remembering this archetype of Persephone as you, as the world? That workshop was so powerful yesterday, and I had many realizations about the Persephone energy, and specifically the Persephone energy in relationship to Pluto energy, because as I talked about in the workshop, and I've talked about in other videos, Persephone is going to be playing this incredibly beautiful role in the eclipses of October 2023. She's going to be on the south node of the moon on those eclipses, with Pluto squaring the nodes of the moon. So really fascinating, really beautiful. I feel her as like this this friend, this person, this being that can hold our hand as we are doing this descent, you know, of the caterpillar into the chrysalis, going into the goop, and being in that place maybe of being scared or not knowing, or not really enjoying that descent process. She's one energy that is like a companion in that, which is really, really beautiful. Yeah, so you can sign up for that goddess series anytime you would like. And I wanted to mention, in terms of those sharing circles, we have now had enough people sign up that I'm going to be opening up a second sharing circle. So currently the one sharing circle we have scheduled is on one Wednesday per month at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And I know that time doesn't work for a lot of people. So I'm going to be holding a second sharing circle every month. I'm considering Saturday evenings, my time, Pacific time, which I'm hoping, I'm going to check with a couple of people who are already enrolled who maybe need a different time than the one we're doing, but that's kind of the time I'm playing around with, because I'm hoping to hold it at a time that people, those of you in Australia or New Zealand, or, you know, some of the places that cannot do 10 a.m. Pacific time because it's the middle of the night for you, I'm hoping maybe that would open it up for you. And also those of you who are working during the week, etc. So yeah, I'm hoping to open up a time for those sharing circles that will accommodate more people. And yeah, if you're interested, reach out to me. If you have specific times that would or wouldn't work for you, I'm open to hearing that. And I would just love to include you in this goddess community. We're also starting, both for my membership, the Infinite Soul Wisdom membership, and for this goddess series community, I have started I've connected with a platform called Circle, which is a place where I'm going to start holding online circles, like online, kind of like Facebook, except not Facebook, where you can connect with each other. So you can, if totally optionally, you can create a free profile, and then you can connect with the other people really easily who happen to be in my membership or happen to be in the goddess series, or both. And then I think I'm also going to open it up to people who have been in any of my workshops, so that you can be part of just the Living the One Light community. And you can start, if there's somebody who was maybe in one of the gatherings you've been to and you really resonated with them and you want to reach out to them, the Circle platform will be a way that you can easily do that. You can chat with each other privately, or you can just reach out and say, I would love to get to know you, and maybe, you know, have a Zoom call with them, or maybe you live in the same town and you can actually meet them in person. That would be amazing. But yeah, I'm very directed by the spirit world in general, as I've said in some other videos, to foster and nurture and nourish community and make it really easily accessible, hopefully for as many people as possible, to be a part of the communities that I'm holding and hosting, which is why I'm doing one free talk per month for January, February, March, and April. And then I'm my membership is, starts at $22 a month. So trying to make that really accessible. And yeah, so this circle platform is going to be another way, hopefully, where I can really hold space for you guys to feel, and me to feel connected to like-minded, beautiful beings like yourself. Okay, so, and more coming. There's that stuff. March also is exciting, but I will pause there, and I will say more another time. So please reach out again, livingtheonelight@gmail.com. My website, livingtheonelight.com. And I will see you all very soon. Thank you.